we have, as I said before, the first one is dharma. Dharma simply means duty. The practice that we practice is not really called our religion, is not really called Hinduism. Hinduism is a name given to groups of religions. Many different religions combined together. What we actually practice is called Sanatan Dharma. It's your eternal duty. That's what Sanatan Dharma means. The righteous practice of your eternal duty. So when we refer to dharma here, an individual's dharma can be a combination of various things. Now, when you are born into this world, some people, their parents choose a path for them from a very tender age. When you grow older, for some of us, we tend to start discovering and to realize our path. Your dharma is that which is your true calling in life. Do you know that many people live their entire lives and never realize what their true calling is? Yes or no? Yes, that is very, very correct. Many people go through their entire lives, and they never realize what their purpose, what their calling is in life. They go to a job that they don't like. They go into an environment that they don't enjoy. And they are not happy, they are not peaceful. And they do it why? Because it pays the bills. Why, as human beings, do we do things that we do not align with, that we do not connect with? And I want this message to reach especially to the younger ones. I know when I was younger and I was trying to figure out certain things and seeking advice from the elders and what to do, which path to take up and where to go next and what to do and what to study, and you have all these things, you have career counseling and all of that, career day in school and all of that drama, right? And you have so many different people, individuals coming and trying to tell you, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. And they are actually selling education. Most people don't know that. They are actually trying to promote their university or their college so that you come there and you partake in that. Maybe you don't really want to do that, but because they sell it so well, you end up going into that field. I would have tried many things, you know. If I go to list, there's not even space in a list to put all of the different things that I have done. From one form of study to another form, to another form, to another form. And there was only one thing that was consistent in my entire life, and that was satsang. Only one thing. And one day I said to myself, I've always had a love for satsang, deeply. I said, Bhagwan, I remember being in a car, traveling, and I said, why can't I just do this for the rest of my life? And that's not made up, that's reality. Why can't I just do this for the rest of my life? At that point in time, I didn't even think about venturing down a particular path. I was just doing what I loved in my heart. And I would do it over and over and over. I would put aside everything for satsang, for puja, for Bhagwan, for the temple. I would put aside every single thing. I do it over and over and over and over. So people ask me the question now, how do you find and how do you discover your purpose? How do you know what your purpose is? Your calling in life. You want the answer? Here's the answer. What it is in your life, there are two things you need to take note of. What it is in life that you do better than most people. That's number one. You can put them in any order, right? And number two, what can you do every day of your life for the rest of your life, even if you are not getting paid for it? You put the two of them together, and you know what your calling is. Took me a lot of time to actually figure that out. But still, I've done it in an early stage. So I am trying to help people now to become the best version of themselves, to realize their true potential, to connect with their purpose and with their calling. Because we always say we want change, we want growth, we want people to change, we want society to be better. I always tell people, I always say that you need to be the change that you want to see in the world. But if you want those around you to grow and to become better, We have to help them to discover and to find their true purpose. Otherwise, we just have a set of sad, sick people all over the place. Yes or no? Everyone can resonate with exactly what I'm saying. You go to a hospital, you find maybe a nurse that is tired of the job and exhausted and been there all day and stressed out and doesn't want to be in that role, but is doing it because she can pay the bills. You find a teacher in the school that is doing it because he needs the salary to pay his bills and make ends meet. Many people enter into professions, they enter into these roles in society not because of the sole purpose of executing on that duty, but because it pays the bills, because of a paycheck. I always say to myself that any and every single thing that I do must never be tied in to my ability to be paid for it. I always give more value than I can be paid for. In anything that I do, I always go above and beyond. When you are at whatever job or whatever position you hold, wherever it is, I want you to think for yourselves. Do you execute to the best of your ability? Or are you saying that I am getting paid for this much, I am only going to do this much? Or I am getting paid for this much, them can't pay me for the amount of work I'm doing. Let me do a little bit less. You are not fooling anybody and you're not selling anybody else short. You are selling yourself short. Because the way that this universe works, there are laws that are designed, law of vibration, the law of attraction and all these things. Whatever you give off into this universe, it will be returned to you. It will be returned to you. In science, it is called Newton's law of motion, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Psychology, they call it the boomerang effect. You throw a boomerang out, that boomerang comes back, and if you're not paying attention, it will knock you out. Similarly in life, where you think it stems out from, the law of vibration. Whatever frequency you're sending out to this universe, it will come back to you. So if you think that you are doing something when you are trying to fulfill your duty and you're selling it short, it is going to come back to you. It reminds me of an individual that used to build houses at one point in time. That this man, he used to build houses and he would build the nicest houses ever. Time came for him to build the final project of his life, the final house. And when he built that house, he said to himself, you know, this is the final one, man. Let me finish this thing quick and get this over with. Let me get this over with. And so he will patch it up and do it halfway and do what he could have done so he could finish it quickly. On completing the house, the individual who hired him for the job, who would have been the boss or whatever the case may be, came and handed him the keys and said, now that this is completed, this is my gift to you. This house I did not mention to you, but you were building this for yourself. Being the last one that you're building, I am gifting this to you. For all of this service and all of the work that you would have done throughout your life. You see how things work? So that is where dharma comes in. Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was straying from his dharma. And that is why Bhagwan Shri Krishna had to come there and bring Arjuna back into that state to understand what his duty was. It's not that Bhagwan was teaching him how to fight war. Bhagwan was teaching him how to fulfill his duty. Arjuna's duty was to be a Kshatriya, a warrior, an archer. He would have stood there and fought against so many individuals. But when it came to the people around him, his family and friends and the people he grew up with, he didn't want to know right from wrong. He didn't want to know good and bad at that point in time. Emotions started to come in there. You're in a specific role. When it comes to your family, you treat them very good. When it comes to everybody else, you don't treat them good at all. We give special preference to those that are close to us and that we love and that are connected to us and all of that. I always believe in life and I always tell to my children that I remain mutual to everybody. You get the same love. Everybody has that love. Nobody is getting less, nobody is getting more. Because if I do that, then I am selling myself short. Then I'm doing an injustice to you. I make sure that everybody has a love. You want it, you come and take it. It's here. Bhagwan says, see this creation equally. So when you execute your duty, devotees, make sure whatever it is, you're a doctor, you're a teacher, you're a lawyer. Swami Sri Satya Sai Baba always says that. Whatever you may be, you can be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, as I said, a pundit, you could be whatever it is. You can be a drummer, you can be a singer, or a dantal player, whatever the case may be. Be a good one. If you are doing something and you know that you are not doing your best at it, then don't do it. Find something that you can do your best at. Find something that you want to do your best at. So that when you wake up every morning, when you rise from the bed, you are excited, you are happy to venture out and do that. You feel fulfilled when you complete it. When I sit and I do puja, when I sit and I do satsang, it takes me into a space that I simply love to be in. Because I feel fulfilled. I feel happy, I feel peaceful, I feel joyful. I know that I am fulfilling my duty to the best of my ability. And if I can't, then I won't do it. I will not do something that I can't fulfill to the best of my ability. So, dharma. So, at different stages in life as well, your dharma it can fluctuate at certain times. What do I mean by that? So, say that your role is to be, let's just say a doctor, for example, right? You're a professional in society, but you now have children at some level now and you have to take care of your children. You now have to enter into the role of a parent. So your duty now becomes the duty of a parent, a mother as the case may be. You have a duty to fulfill while being in that role there. So at different stages in your life, you will have to take up different roles. Yeah, that happens as well. Whenever you do take up those roles as well, devotees, make sure that you do it to the best of your ability. So that's dharma. There are many more things that can be said, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. We have artha. And artha is simply the pursuit of material wealth. This is a very touchy topic. When people hear wealth, well, you know, some of the things that you hear in this day and age is really, really funny. It's a funny thing, eh? Money is not good. Money is the root of all evil. I never see money kill somebody yet. You ever see money get up and shoot somebody? Ever? Never. The man behind the money and his intentions is what is important. Earth or wealth is one of our objectives. It's something that we must have. Why? You cannot have food without money. You cannot have clothing without money. You cannot run the mandir without money. Not so? You cannot do anything. You cannot have education. You cannot have a proper life without having money. When we say wealth as well, not just money, but wealth comes in various forms. Wealth comes in the form of knowledge. It comes in the form of happiness, in the form of health, and all of those things. But we are focusing on material wealth here. Right? Understand that money is very, very important. Now, the love of money and the attachment of money is where the problem comes. It is essential to remain detached from material possessions and material wealth. You can have it, but do not get attached to it. You know, some people, until they are going to their grave, they are attached to it. They will not let go of it at all. Whether they go into the grave or wherever they are going, you know what I mean, right? The body ready to go down by the mosquito creek, and if they can open their eye and hold on to everything and carry go with them, I never see more. I've heard people say, what is mine is mine. When I'm dead and gone, let them fight for it. Sad reality of the world we live in. You have a little bit shared with your children before your time comes to go. Don't wait for that time. Don't wait for that time. And don't wait for them to fight for it. No, it shouldn't be like that. If you say the right things and you practice the right things, they will follow. It starts with you. Right? So acquiring wealth is not a problem. Acquiring wealth is important. Having wealth is very important. But also I want you to understand something. We are on the second one here, but there's 4 we are covering. It's 4 that we have, right? 4 fruits of life. As I told you before, you cannot strive for one more than the other. So this is where balance has to come in as well. You're striving for wealth, but you must also have dharma at the same time. You must be practicing. You must be righteous in your duty. And then we'll come to the other 2 as well. Right? So with earth, I want you to understand this. Understand this, right? I always say that abundance is a quality of the divine. Abundance is a quality of God. Not so? Bhagwan is abundant. He exists in abundance. This universe is created and manifested abundantly. So if abundance is a quality of the divine, then how can having abundance in your life be a bad thing? I want you all to think about that for a second. How can having it or being in the pursuit of it be a bad thing? Think about that, right? If you look at any great soul who have walked the earth, who would have accomplished great things, some of them may not have acquired the wealth for themselves, but they had to acquire it from somewhere to have the resources to do the things that they wanted. Any great soul that has gone on in history, you go back and you find them. Poor is a mindset. Poor is a state of consciousness. It's a state of being. Poverty. Abundance is also a mindset. You can be in a state of abundance all the time. It doesn't mean you have to have $1 million. But you can have. That's all well and fine also. Just do not get caught up and get intoxicated by it, right? So abundance is something I normally tell people, it comes to giving as well, right? Abundance is something that you are supposed to have all the time. How do you experience abundance? It's not that when I get, I will give. You have to give even before you have in great quantities and great amounts. You have to start giving, right? You have $10, you can give $1. You can give $2, you can give $3. According to your pocket, it's up to you, right? Whatever little you have, you can give. You have to start giving now. For those of you that give, you would understand what I'm saying, that it feels amazing. And the more that you start giving, the universe is going to allow that abundance to flow into your life. That abundance will flow into your life. So if you want to be in a state of abundance, you want to live where you have wealth in your life, in all aspects, give. Not just money, but give your time, give your service, give your energy. The universe will reward that. So we have dharma, we have artha. That makes up 50% of the equation, right? The next one that we have is kam. Kam is, in this context here, it refers to fulfilling one's desires. Now, when you hear about desires, normally, from a scriptural perspective, you will hear that desires is a bad thing. That's not true. And you have to desire salvation. You have to desire salvation before you get it. So how can desire be a bad thing? You have to desire to serve. You have to desire to help somebody. You have to have that desire first before you go out and actually do it. So desire also is not a bad thing. Right? I would have mentioned at one point in time that everything has positive and negative in it, right? It's all based on your perspective, how you see it and how you utilize it. So desires here may come in various forms, right? The desire to be wealthy, to be powerful, physical needs, emotional needs, recognition, and all of these different things you want to attain in the world. Right? I want you to take note of this point. Very, very important. As one becomes aware of their desires and goes about fulfilling them in awareness without judgment, one soon reaches the stage of being able to sublimate and eventually transcend them. Let me break that down. You have desires, but it's for the right reason. Okay, here's what. I have a desire to do satsang so that many people can come and they can benefit from the knowledge and they can be able to uplift themselves. Is that a good desire or is that a bad desire? I have a desire to attain wealth so that I can be able to give more, I can help more, I can serve more.